Hi, I'm Tamara and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about the ESTJ and what can keep them from reaching their purpose in life. And really, it's the same thing that helps them to reach their purpose in life. Some of the things that you use to reach your purpose in life can hinder you when it comes to relationships, friendships, developing good connections with colleagues. So it can be tricky. The other interesting factor about ESTJs is, at least there used to be more ESTJs than there were of any other type. So I'm not sure if that's still the case, but it's a very common type. So people are used to working with ESTJs. Now, even though it's the most common type, it is not the most common type with women. So it is much rarer to have an ESTJ female. Why? Because approximately 75% of women are feelers. So when you place an ESTJ personality type on a female, it's gonna look a little different than it will on a man. And some of it is society, some of it is the way we tend to be conditioned, fair or not fair. So I think in that sense, an ESTJ female may have a tougher time or get more pushback because who are you? You're assertive, many times in a leadership position. Sometimes that can be a hindrance to an ESTJ. But male or female, there are still some things that can get in the way of purpose, and that is sometimes they can be so take charge, so controlling, so pushing their agenda for themselves that they're not realizing that there are other people who also have needs that need to be met, even if it's in the workplace, because they know what they want success, they want to be the best, they want to do a good job, and they see what it will take, which it could be, hey, I want these people on my team because they are the best people, but at the same time, you have to realize that there are other people who also want to do well and excel, and it can't always be I'm getting everything that I want, even if it means disregarding everybody else. I think that's something that I have seen in some ESTJs, not all. So they're very extroverted, so they're gonna have a need for friendships. And I think it's important to understand that sometimes you have to differentiate between friendships, between organization, between your spouse, between the workplace. You know, you can't go into all those situations with the exact same, hey, you know, cutthroat, this is how it's got to be done, or the same way that I talk to people at work in a very take charge manner. That's not going to go over very well when it comes to friendships, when it comes to extended family, and sometimes even colleagues. And that may not be easy for them depending on how strong their thinking preference is. If they're not in touch with their feeling side at all, then it's going to be even more difficult. I know that in some cases you have to be objective, you have to be tough to get things done. But at the same time, there has to be a lane for talking to people in a manner that is respectful and that they also feel that they deserve.
Take a step back and give others room to flourish. Remember, not everyone shares your natural ability to be confident, courageous leaders.
ESTJs like control. And you got to remember that ESTJs are also SJs. SJs are very much rule-oriented. Everything is going to come back to what do the rules say about this. And that's what they're going to be operating from. So then sometimes there's not much wiggle room. This is exactly how I want it done, when sometimes it helps to be a little bit more gray, especially when it comes to building relationships with people. There might be some ESTJs that have lots of friends, and then there are ones that feel like they don't get people at all. And it's because that business-like approach does not work very well in certain settings. They can become impatient, and that impatience could lead to a slew of criticism. I'm saying everything that I'm thinking in my head, and that's not always a good idea. All of those rules can also destroy something positive and fun. People generally need some positivity. And you know, that's that old saying that says, if you don't have anything nice, then don't say it at all. Even though I feel like I'm being a little bit mean or a little bit harsh myself. But in social settings, sometimes it's best not to say it at all, because people are not saying every little thing that they're thinking about you. So you have to give that same respect back, even if you're not feeling it.
Remember, you are a great conversationalist. Use your ability to engage people in a positive way.
ESTJs can move mountains. They do a lot for our society. Sometimes toughness has to go into play, but take 15% of yourself and work on that area for when you can soften. Now, there are some ESTJs who have mastered the art of balance. It could be because ESTJs do have the ability to sort of make exceptions and allowances based on if they're in a relationship or the people that they're around, or if it's a church, they can give the charge to someone else. And that's a good thing to develop. Some may have more social or people skills than others do. For one thing, there's so many of them. You're going to get a huge variety. So some people could be impacted by their upbringing, their birth order, which I made a video about that. You know, a super middle child might be an easier going ESTJ. If an ESTJ does not respect you, they may not care what your opinion is, nor do they want to hear it. Sometimes they can be so tunnel vision with getting the job done. If they have a hot temper, they can really do a lot of damage to people around them, and then kind of wonder, why doesn't anybody want to be around me? It's because most people want to have a pleasant time. They want to relax and they want to enjoy themselves. So that can get in the way of certain areas in your life when it comes to reaching your purpose of having personal fulfillment in your life.
You are a natural guardian. Use your compassion in the workplace to offer help to someone who may be struggling. Your kindness, listening ear, and advice will make a positive impact.
I think every ESTJ that I've ever met, they do have the capacity to have a very nice, pleasant side where you can talk about lots of things, have great conversations. In the ESTJ video that I made, I talk about how I had noticed that in a lot of relationships, they can sort of take a step back. Say a man feels like, okay, maybe she has more of an instinct for how to care for the family. I mean, not necessarily, but he will step back and say, okay, she can have this. Because the ESTJ can be so compulsive, it might be very difficult for them to relax in certain settings. And so I think an ESTJ needs to practice ways to relax and enjoy their lives.
Remember, you actually have a great sense of humor. Use it.
Because you don't want to wear yourself out. The other thing too is you might want to delve into some other areas of life that can kind of soften you a little bit, or exercise a different part of yourself to calm a little bit. And that might be going to an art museum, for example, and enjoying that. I think ESTJs might feel a need to have a barrage of complaints. It starts to drive you absolutely crazy and insane and keeps you keyed up. So you might want to create yourself a complaint jar and write down your complaints, stick it in the jar, and don't say it aloud. And for every complaint that you don't say aloud, give yourself $1. Constructive criticism is fine. You want to look at the positives in life. You know, what are some good things that I have to look forward to? So Like I said before, please check out my ESTJ video. It has a lot of nice, amazing things that I say about ESTJs. So please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed my video. Hit the subscribe button and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.